Hi, ma'am. How are you?
Hello everyone.
Thanks for joining. Mary, are you there? She is just joining in. Hi,
Yeah,
Mary.
Hi, Madhukanda. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. Good evening, ma'am.
good evening everyone.
Uh, so the recordings begin, na, Madhu?
Yeah. It's the recording is going on. We can start, right, Kunal? Maybe.
Uh, yes, we can start. Good evening, ma'am, and welcome to Sundarban's House IITM and in this session.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this session, and I was really looking forward to meeting you all and reconnect myself to the those student days where we were equally nervous and excited to know what is going on in the corporate
Yes,
world, what is happening. So thank you so much.
absolutely. I'm sure we'll get to learn a lot today. So, Bhairavi, I guess you can start.
Yeah, yeah. So good evening, everybody. And before we start with the session, I'd like to introduce our guest, Ramani ma'am, to all of you. Ramani ma'am is an experienced IT consultant with a demonstrated history of working in the information technology and services industry. She has completed Bachelor of Technology in Computer Science from C.V. Raman College of Engineering, Bhubaneswar. Ma'am has an experience of more than 10 years in the IT and services industry and has worked for well-known companies like Cognizant and Tata Consultancy Services. Currently, she is working as a data architect at IBM. Ma'am, we are so very glad to have you amongst us and super excited to get answers to our questions. Now, without further ado, with your due permission, should we start with the session?
Yes, sure. Just one thing. Now that you are, going to enter in the corporate world, so there is no concept of sir or ma'am in corporate world. So we call each other by name. We all are colleagues, even if you are a fresher, even if you are a CEO. So we all are colleagues. So you can call me Ramani. So that's my name, and you can freely address me and ask any questions or doubts that you have.
Sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. With due respect, I just don't find myself, still at the position where I can call you by your
No,
name. So
no.
if you
You will
don't
learn
mind,
that. Yeah, you will learn
okay.
as soon as you start working. You will learn this because this is an important concept where we don't believe in hierarchy in the corporate world. There are
Yeah.
mentors. There is a leadership team that is there to guide you. But at the end, we all are colleagues, and we all are there working as a team. So there is no sir or there is no ma'am here. Okay.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So you've worked in three companies till now.
Yeah.
First of all, we'd like to know how has the transition been for you?
Okay. Okay, so just to give you a brief introduction, how I started. So I started actually from a small town called Jamshedpur, where I completed my 10th and 12th. And uh, in my school years, I was a little inclined towards the computer science related subjects, and it really fascinated me. I was especially interested in the programming related subjects that we had, and I thought that this would be a good way to pursue my career in this field. So I was still not sure where engineering would be my go-to place, but I mean, I just went for it. That was by chance, but the focus was clear. Even if not through engineering, but any alternative, if I got a way to pursue degrees, I would definitely do that in this field. So that was how I determined, and I then luckily got an opportunity to study in C.V. Raman College in Bhubaneswar in the field that I wanted to. So that's how the journey began, and I started my IT career in the year around 2010. My first company was TCS, and I have been working in business intelligence and data warehousing related projects from the beginning. So I have been associated with multiple projects, which is delivering to the clients based across UK, Europe, and Nordic countries, and helps those businesses establish their business transformation, their data transformation. And yeah, so that's how I moved in various roles there before I finally got an opportunity in Cognizant Technologies, where I continued my journey in the area of data and data governance and data modeling. Currently, I am in IBM, where I got the role of a data architect. And as a data architect, my main area, or my forte, I would say, is dealing and understanding the data and presenting it in a way that is easily consumable by the business and easily understandable by the business. So that's how that's how on what I've been working for in the last 12 years.
So, ma'am, is it difficult changing fields? Is it difficult changing companies? And basically, do you have to start from scratch if you happen to change companies?
Okay. See, I will tell you. When you enter in corporate world, every individual's journey is different. Okay, so there is no hard and fast rule that you have to change a company. So it all depends on your priorities. Sometimes, financials are your priority. Sometimes growth is your priority. Sometimes maybe recognition or the fame that you look for, that is your priority. So it changes and it depends on you, and you are alone responsible for carving out your journey in this world. So the same thing happened with me also, but I would say that it is not very difficult, and it is not mandatory, and it's not difficult also to change companies. The only thing you need is your in-depth knowledge of the subject. So you need to be a subject matter expert in whatever field, whatever area that you're working on, and you need to be aware of what's going on in the industry. What are the current roles, what is the current technology that is going on, and you need to be up to date with it. So those are the only things that you need to be having with you whenever you intend to change any company. So it's not difficult, and it's always good to change companies. It gives you a different perspective. Sometimes when you are in your same company, you tend to get into your comfort zone. Everyone knows you. Your things are done very easily, and you get whom to contact to get the answers to your problem. So it becomes easy. But only when you move out of that pool and you are suddenly placed into a situation where you have to fight alone, where you have to solve the problems on your own, that's when that your competitiveness or your critical thinking improves, and you are moving ahead. So it's always good if you are changing company. Okay.
So ma'am, our degrees for all people belonging to all age groups, but we do have a lot of freshers too. So for them, how to stand aside from the crowd and how to be creative and innovative in a corporate setup.
Okay. So see, the funda that I always use, and it's generally like people who really want to sustain in this industry, they would require is hard work and knowledge. I think if you have these two attributes with you, you will always stand out in the crowd, because industry needs people who are problem solvers. If you need to come up with solutions, everyone can come up with problems, and you can always come up and say, no, things are not working, it's not working as you were expecting. But if you're coming with a solution, be it right or wrong, but that intent to just try to solve issues, that is what something is a distinctive character which not everyone has. And at the same time, if you have a solid command over the subject that you are dealing with, that always adds to your your profile, and people look out for subject matters. At the end, it's all your knowledge that takes you forward. So keep working hard, and keep trying to gain knowledge in the field that you are working, and that should be more than enough to carve your way out. Things that would help you improve in terms of being creative: first thing is communication, time management, and try to think out of the box. What can be a normal solution that maybe you will Google and you will find that solution, but try to think, what can be the other way I can solve this? Are there any other methods that are available that can easily solve this problem in a lesser period of time and in a faster way? So these are the things, unless and unless you don't ask the questions to yourself, you will never be able to apply that. You will always go by the rule, by the book, whatever solutions that are provided. So you need to be you need to have that thinking ability. So these are the few things, and whoever has worked with such intent, they have always shown in their career. That's what I have observed in my, at least my 12 years of career. So that is what I suggest to all the juniors or anyone who is joining the industry and who is looking for a way to carve their path. So always think out of the box, try to come up with solutions, have a positive attitude, have a good attitude. Attitude is all that matters. Okay.
Mhm. So, ma'am, what is the difference between a data engineer and a data architect?
Okay. Data uh, data is a big vast area on its own. You must be aware by now that you are working or studying in this field. There are a lot of aspects to it. There is data modeling, there is data profiling, data quality, but all these things, there needs to be a person who needs to think of how I can implement the solution. In a corporate world, what you get as a problem is the business process. You will not be told what their problem is. You will be just provided with their business process. So you need to understand their business processes, what kind of data they are dealing with, and then you have to try to convert it into finally as a data that can be readable format, put it in a database. So when you are thinking that, when you are putting that strategy and you are doing that design, how the data will come from the source systems, from the business into your database, so you are designing it. So that is the role of a data architect. So he is designing, or he or she is designing, and the person has designed, but who is going to implement it? So you need to build in certain we called it mappings in the technological terms. These are called mappings or data flows, so that it finally you are creating jobs so that the data is extracted, the data is stored in the database, and it is available for data scientists or the data or the reports. So this is the job of a data engineer. So uh, data architect, so mostly when people join in this field, they join as data engineers, because you need to implement the solution first to understand how you can design. So with experience, you learn how to design and how to build the strategy. So that's when you slowly move on to data architects. Data architects are also sometimes data engineers. They are also sometimes data modelers. So they perform multiple roles. So it is not very hard and fast that if you are a data architect, you will not do a data engineer's job. So that is where, so it's a one step forward, I would say. Okay.
Okay.
I
So,
hope
ma'am,
I'm able to answer your questions, and if you are able to,
yeah,
if you are not able to
yeah,
understand, let me know. I'll try to, put it in more simple words.
sure, ma'am. So basically, when you answered this question, you meant the pathway to become a data architect is first becoming a data engineer, so you get a clearer perspective and
Right,
okay.
right. So you write a query, how it's going to work. At the back end, what happens when you are running the query, what would be the best way to optimize that query? So all those inputs you get from a data architect. So usually when you I mean how the hierarchy is, when you are initially a junior data engineer, then you become a senior data engineer, and then you become a data architect. Okay.
Oh, okay. Ma'am, what is project management and how are data science and project management linked, or can we use data science in project management?
Okay. So project management, when I say, so it is not specific to IT industry. So project management is something when you have some product, or when you have some deliverables that needs to be provided to your customer. So as a data architect, I can design the solution. As a data engineer, I can implement that solution. But there should be some person who will be managing in terms of the timelines by which it needs to be delivered. Is the team that is working is communicating properly or not? Whatever business is asking for, that is actually getting implemented or not? What is the cost involved? So the business will give, or your client will give certain amount of money. You need to use your resources in a proper way, so that you don't cross the budget. So these the risks, if there are any, if there you face any untimely issues which you were not expecting. So all these things, you need a third person who can manage all these things. So that is where project management comes into picture. So it considers the time aspect, the cost aspect, the product delivery, or the quality aspect. So when you cover all these things, we need a specialized person who can handle these and help deliver that solution within the time frame and in a proper manner to the customer. So that's where project management comes into picture, and it's a specialization. It's a big area of specialization on its own. So you need to be very good in management. So, and your question that data science can be used in project management. Yeah, I think yes, definitely it can be used in project management. There are a lot of things like risk assessment. So if some unforeseen situations that come in the project, there are certain budget constraints or resources. If when I say resources, there are both hardware, there are the people who are working in the projects. All these are resources. So you can predict, say, how many resources would be required if I am planning for this project. What is the pipeline of resources available? Whether I would be able to get the deliverables of those assets by the time I need to run this project. So all these things project manager is handling, and data science can give a lot of inputs uh, based on the trend and based on the market analysis. They can give a lot of inputs to a project manager to help him correctly predict and commit. When you are committing to a customer, the time by which you will be delivering the project, so you need to stick to it. You need to deliver it by that time. So if you're not able to do, then definitely that's a problem. And it'll if you use the data science concepts, if you get the correct trend analysis, that is how you would be really help in your project management and planning. So yes, definitely use. This is one area where till now I have not seen a lot of use as such, but going forward, yes, definitely there is scope, and we will eventually see some more project management tools using data science.
What's the basic pay in this industry?
You mean to say the pay scale?
Salary in this
Ma'am,
industry.
sorry to interrupt, ma'am. But I guess we can take all the questions later. Rachit, please post your question in the chat, and once we get finished with all the questions from our end, we'll surely take up your questions. Thank you.
So, ma'am, the next question is, seeing today's scenario of the corporate world, when can we expect everything to come back on track? And also for the people who will be going out to get new jobs or internship, is it safe to join big MNCs or joining a startup would be better?
Okay. See, there are pros and cons to both joining an MNC or joining a startup. So it totally depends on the choice. I mean, the individual's choice, whether uh, a startup definitely gives you a lot more in terms of the how the complete project is managed, delivered. So you are not just any data engineer, or you're not just any data scientist in a project. So if you are involved in a startup projects, you are equally responsible for the complete deliverables, for giving it to the customer. But in MNCs, usually you have a pool of resources specializing in their area. So you usually work on the job that you are given. You work on it. Once the job finishes, you move, you are shifted to another project where you are again working on that area. So you mostly never get the complete picture of what is the role of a data architect here, what is the role of a data modeler here, what is the role of a business analyst here. Sometimes you don't get that complete picture. So these are the cons of MNCs. But the other things from an MNC is give more from a job, a security point of view, more from the benefits that you are getting in MNCs. The pay scales may or may not, but these are some of the benefits from an MNC point of view. And definitely you are associated with a brand, which obviously increases your value in terms of your profile. So yes, so there are pros and cons, but yes, I understand currently the market is going through a situation where we are seeing a lot of layoffs, especially by big MNCs. But um, it's not always that it is due to performance, or it's not that the resources are removed on the basis of performance. There are always things when budget comes into picture. There is always scenarios where hard decisions are taken. So if you are in this industry, you need to be uh, taking up this risk before you join this industry, and you need to be prepared for it. So there can be any time, or there can be any scenario where you can face these job skirts, and you should not consider it because of your performance or because of any other reason that you are being particularly targeted for it. But it is just that um, a lot of things, decisions are taken at a very high level, at investors level and at the board level, where their first priority is to retain their capital investment, right? So those things definitely at this stage we don't need to get involved, but this is something we need to keep in mind. And there is always a risk factor associated, even if you are in a startup or even if you are in an MNC. Okay, so be prepared for it. Be prepared whenever you are working in this industry, and always be prepared in the sense that if you lose the job tomorrow, then you are in a state that you can apply for a job. So there is no dearth of jobs, I would say, in the market. You will still find the openings. There are, at one side there is layoff that is happening, and the other side there are a lot of openings coming up. So there is no dearth, but you need to be prepared to give interviews. You need to be prepared to appear for another interview. Okay, so always be in that frame of mind.
So, ma'am, based on how you concluded this particular answer of yours, there was another question asking, in the current times, a lot of companies are laying off their employees as well as interns. So, how should one tackle such a situation positively?
Yeah, so as I said, the first thing, I think maybe you all must be aware, they always say that love your job but don't love your company. So keep this in your mind, that you never know, because you are not managing, or you are not responsible for the financials of any company. So there can always be a situation where any company can go through a rough patch, and they will have to take these hard decisions. So as and how you move up in the leadership, you will realize in terms of the revenues and in terms of margins that is required for a company to run. So these are the scenarios that come up frequently, and that's when hard decisions need to be taken. So you need to be prepared. That's what I say. Always keep yourself up to the mark with what is happening in the industry. Keep yourself up to the mark in terms of if tomorrow you have to appear for another job interview, you should be in a position, you should have that command on your subject. You should have that knowledge ready with you so that you can move to another company, or you can whatever line you want to pursue. So don't be worried too much that there may not be jobs or there may not be any internships available. They are still available. The market is still there. In fact, in America, there is still a dearth of 20 to 25% of software engineers. So you can imagine the market, how much the market is available for job opportunities. So and always any company looks for best candidates who can add from their skill perspective, who can add to the knowledge. So I only your knowledge and hard work will take you forward. Okay.
So ma'am, how much do you see data science jobs increasing in the next 5 years?
Oh, lot. Data science is one area that is still not explored properly. Maximum of the companies, be it whatever domain, finance, banking, or your transport, logistics, these are the areas that are actively, they want to explore the data science area, and they are yet to reach, that stage where they are able to make a lot of, good business predictive analysis. And for that, they need the data in the way that they can do that. And at the same time, they need good skilled resources who have that business acumen. When I say business acumen, that means they have that good understanding of the business. They have good understanding of the data that is present in the business. And I am able to point out what is the problem in your business and how you can solve it. So you need to develop that skill, and you need to have that sharp business acumen so that you can suggest business ideas, you can suggest ways to solve their problems. And it's a huge I would say area where companies are looking forward to. They have not yet got the results that are being desired. So from a data science perspective, I don't see any I see only growth in next 5 years, and the growth is in exponential way because the data is ever increasing in today's world. And as and when there is more unstructured data, and the quality or the quantity of data that is coming in, the amount of information that you can generate out of the data, and the right information and the right knowledge from that data, that is huge. And we need that skilled resources to do that, which is very less in today's industry, if I would say. So don't worry from that point of view. Data science is something, it will always remain in demand. So there are more requirements and less data scientists in the market. So I just see only it's growing in the next 5 years. Okay.
Yeah, so ma'am, how important is it to keep learning new things and upskilling oneself?
Yeah, as I've been saying continuously in this meeting, that it is very, very important to continuously upskill. You yourself are seeing how quickly and how rapidly the technologies are changing, right? The phones that you were using maybe 5 years back and now that you are using, you can see a huge difference in terms of the interface, in terms of the applications, in terms of the usability. So if you are not keeping yourself up to speed, then you will lag behind. So the same thing is applicable in the corporate world as well. New technologies are coming every other day, and you need to know what's better that is happening in your area of expertise, what new things are coming up. And people are always looking for resources who are able to use the new things that are coming in the market and able to apply it in a project or apply it on the data that they are working on. So it's very, very important. Even after 12 years of working in this industry, I can say that I'm still learning. I still don't know a lot of things. I still need to know new areas in the data, how I can contribute as a data architect, what more things I can do. So if I don't do that, I will become irrelevant in next 4 or 5 years. So like in most of the professions, if you are a doctor or if you are a scientist, you need to continuously upgrade yourself with whatever new findings or whatever new innovations that are happening. Same in this field as well, you need to be continuously learning. I think learning is the key. More than you teaching someone, you need to learn. So uh, always keep that your frame of mind should always be there, like keep learning whatever new that is coming, keep learning. At least be aware of what is happening. You may not get a chance to work on it because not everyone cannot work on all technologies. There are a lot of specialization and you need to focus on individual specializing areas, but you need to be aware what is going on and what next is coming, what the world is looking for next. So yes, learning. And in fact, in every industry that you join, corporate world specifically, you will have dedicated hours for learning and development. You will have a dedicated goals. When I say goals, like the yearly appraisals that happen, there will be goals that you need to meet, and one of them is learnings, one of them is certifications. So you realize how much stress is given on this aspect. So the learning doesn't end with college. It begins from here, and it just goes on till you retire.
So, ma'am, we don't have to end learning at this point in time until we are maybe in the working sector, or we still are in the corporate world. We have to continuously upskill ourselves, and yeah.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, there's another question about how to maintain work-life balance. And also, there's another question: what is the growth rate in corporate world?
Growth rate in corporate world, if I talk about IT in specific, the current buzzword or the current focus is data. All the industries, all the domains or sectors, what they are looking for is a solution to the problems, which can only be provided through proof of data. So if you are able to get that from their data and provide it to them, which they are not able to do, if you for example, if you just provide them a balance sheet, okay, this is your balance sheet for this year, then what do you think people who may not understand the technical details, how will they understand, okay, what are the areas to focus on, what are the areas which are have good market potential, what are the sectors where I can improve on? So unless you put it in a nice way, put it in a graph, visually appealing, and point out these are the things where you can focus on, these are your problem areas because of which you are losing your money, and if you give them, that is reducing their time and effort by so much times multiplied, right? So that is what everyone is looking for in today's world. So data is the word, or data is the buzzword in this industry currently. So focus on this area. The next is definitely, as I mentioned, like the appealing factor, how you put it in a visual mode, how well you can do that. So interfaces and apps, interfaces and AIs, these are the another key areas that is also much in demand in market. But from market requirement perspective, all the fields which is related to data, be it data governance, data quality, data modeling, data architecture, solution architecture, enterprise architecture, these are the areas that are highly in demand in the industry. Okay.
Ma'am, there was another question asking about how to maintain work-life balance.
Okay. Okay. So I will not specifically be able to answer this one because I had a very poor work-life balance and I just learned it. I had I learned it in a very hard way. Um yes, when you join any industry, your focus should definitely be on learning. Initial few years, uh, keep your attitude in such a way that you're always focused on learning new things, to communicate and understand just how the business work, how things work, and how whenever you come up with any situation, how you learn it from your seniors when you see them, how they are handling situations and all this. So initial few years, you really need to learn and focus on skills development. Um, but yes, not at the cost of your health. So have food on time, have so whatever is required to take break and learn, you need to do that. But yes, if you have to give a little more effort than regular to learn a new thing, to upgrade yourself, then spend that at least in the initial 3 to 4 years of your career. And work-life balance, if you can very well manage, if you are good at time management, if you are focused, you can complete a work which will normally take 4 hours, you can complete it within 2 hours. And if you are organized, this was one thing where I lagged very badly. I was able to complete my work, but I was never organized. So I spend my time just looking up where I had maintained that file, where I had kept that information. So these are all the lessons I learned in the hard way. But I would want to say, from the beginning, have everything organized, maintain, be focused, don't get distracted. um, distracted in the sense, you have mobiles, you can have a lot of conversations and everything, but in your office, or when if it's your working time, focus on your work. And if and once you gain knowledge in that area, you will definitely be able to complete in much less time than you require right now. So yes, initial few years are hard, but then it becomes very easy to maintain your work life balance. So yeah, so these are the few things you must take care of. Okay.
So, ma'am, the key takeaways were in the initial stages, keep learning and make it a point to keep everything organized so that you don't waste a lot of time in just searching
Yes,
for stuff.
exactly. And one more thing I forgot to add is communication. Communicate, whatever it is. If you want to ask questions, but understand clearly what the requirement is. Understand what is expected of you. If you and one more thing is, keep your ears open. Most of the times, you will never have a mentor who will sit next to you and explain you, and you will be writing it down in a copy, what steps you need to perform, what all things you will need to do. So usually you get a, a training or a KT on the tool that you are going to work on, so you just get that. But how to do that, and how to deliver those projects, so that is something you have to do on your own. So always keep your ears open, what the people sitting next to you, what are they doing, how are they doing. They may face a problem which you not have come across yet, but if that is solved, okay, this is how that problem is solved. So next time in future, if you get such problem, you know how to solve it. So this is how, talk to everyone, talk to your team, understand what kind of problems they are facing. So communicate, that's what that key is, to communicate, to have those chat outside, just related to work. Understand how people are learning new things, what kind of issues they are facing in their workplace. So all these are part of your learning. So there is no separate just learning. These are all learnings which you need to take with you as you are progressing in your career. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So what kind of internships should a data scientist fresher try to get into in order to get a better insight into what happens in the corporate setup?
Okay. See, from I mean the mm, organizations or the sites from where you can get the internship related details that you may already be knowing about, and for that I will not put a lot of stress on. But the kind of internships, first of all, if you are really keen to pursue in this particular area, try to get associated with companies that are already working in this area, who they are specializing in these areas, to try to find out such kind of organizations and try to get associated with it. What happens usually in the real world scenario, and let me put it very straightforward, is that as I said, there is a dearth of skilled resources in this area, right? But data science is a specialization of its own, and most of the times the companies hire resources, and if the data science you don't have enough opportunities, they use the resources for other areas related to data only, data specialization only, but not very specific or relevant to data science. So this can happen. So that is why whenever you are trying to get associated with any organization, try to during the recruitment phase itself, ask these questions. What kind of projects are there? What will be expected? What would be my day-to-day work would be as a data scientist? So if you are getting that relevant answer, which you think is uh, as per what you had experienced, or as what you are going to look forward to in that organization, only then consider it. Otherwise, it always happens. It mostly happens when you don't have projects. People hire because there is a dearth of resources, and they train them into another subject areas. So so you need to take those calls. You need to understand, and you need to organize, ask all the recruiters, ask the interviewers what is expected, what kind of work is expected, what all skills they are looking for precisely. Okay. And only then get associated with any organization, be it for internship or be it for finally when you are joining the company. And look out for companies that are very specifically working on analytics area. So data and analytics streams, check whether that organization is having a data and analytics streams or not, and ask whether you are going to work in that stream or not. Okay. If you are within that stream, even if you are working say in some other area, you can easily switch whenever, or uh, as and when the opportunities come. But if you are not at all part of that uh, department or part of that stream of the organization, then it becomes very difficult to move to finally to that area. So take the call initially only. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am. So now we do have some questions from our audience, so we'll take them.
Yeah.
First was, how will ChatGPT impact the future of programming or coding jobs? Do you think this can affect jobs, and can AI be the reason for mass layoffs, and will it be a thing to be worried about?
um I would say yes, it is definitely going to impact, not now, but in the future, the jobs. But first of all, I don't know if how many of you have used Chat GPT. Even if I think they have published the beta version where you can just test and see how it responds. So Chat GPT is basically it's not a predictive model. It is not based on that predictive model. It's not based on generative model. It is what it is going through the data. It is understanding the data, it is able to generate information out of that data. So it will give you information out of what it is reading, whatever database is it has, right? But it is doing it in a much better way than what we have in the existing chatbots. So if you deal with any product based chatbot, suppose you are talking to any mobile phone operator industry, and you get very specific set of questions from the bot, and you need to answer out of a given set of answers that are available. So very limited chat services that you have. But if you use the chat gpts, it talks to you almost like a person, and it gives you information over a very vast area and knowledge. So definitely it is a revolutionary thing, I would say, that has come. But it does not generate new ideas. It will only say from what it has read. It will not generate anything new. So you still need the workforce, you still need skilled resources who will generate new ideas. And unless you don't feed that data to AI will not recognize. So you need to give that information to chatbot, right? And to prepare the data in that way so that the chatbot reads it, generates information out of it. So you still need resources, right? So, but yes, chat gpt in future may cut down in jobs in terms of work that is very repetitive. Mostly, say for example, in call centers, when you are querying or you are answering some of the queries from the users. Even in industries, there are a lot of tasks that you do on a repetitive mode. You These are the few of the things that chat gpt, I think, is capable of taking up and doing. There are a few areas like rpa, robotic process automation, where we are automating jobs. And so even now we don't even need to build that. Chat gpt is intelligent enough to build that, to automate things. So that is where I think, yes, definitely it is going to impact. But uh, uh, it's also in a good way that the repetitive, everyday repetitive tasks that you need to do, that will be cut out from your profile. So now you can focus on more better things, generate new ideas. You can focus on more research and development area. So the focus may shift, but the kind of work profile we have, that slowly can be taken over by these open ais that we are now going to see. So but yes, but from a data science perspective, if I speak very specifically, I don't think it is going to impact a lot. Rather, you would be the you know source providers. As a data scientist, you will be the data providers. You will be that information provider to chat bots. You will be information providers to these ais. So your work increases all the more now. Okay.
So, ma'am, there are like two questions related. I'll just ask them at once. One is, are there any upcoming skills which one should focus on? And second is, which are the reputed certifications in the data science field that the industry currently recognizes?
Okay. So from a certifications perspective, usually in the industries, if you are already pursuing a data science as a course, as part of your specialization, you don't need a separate certifications. When any organization or company is hiring certifications, the next level, when you are doing an ml scientist, uh, there is also a categorization of architect level. There is also categorization in terms of model specific specializations that happen. So you can pursue that once you complete your initial data science degree that you are studying. But from a certification point of view, it is more required when a person is pursuing or wants to change to data science field. So any reputed organizations, specifically say Hopkins, or you have then Harvard's. So if you are getting a degree from such organizations, it is like worldwide recognized. But if you are already pursuing a degree like what you all are doing, then at this point you don't need any specific data science certifications, because you are already a subject matter expert. It is just the next level. Once you start working on it, the next level information is something that you need to work on. Okay. And the other question, sorry, I missed, if you can repeat the
Yeah.
another question. Yeah.
The first one was the kind of certifications one should, the kind of certifications one should pay attention towards. And the second one was specifically towards data science field, any kind of certifications one should go for.
Okay. So currently, I think cloud, big data, and cloud is the go-to place for all businesses. So everyone is moving to cloud. There is nothing on-premise right now. On-premise, when I say, there are no hardware specifically for storage and database. So everyone is moving to cloud providers. Most famous one is AWS and Microsoft Azure, and then you have the Google GCP platform. But everyone is moving towards cloud, and I think anyone and everyone should have basic understanding of cloud computing concepts. So that is one thing which I recommend strongly, that be clear with the cloud computing concepts. And second, be very clear with uh, unstructured data, which we are seeing more as big data. So what kind of real-time data is coming, and what kind of unstructured data is there, and as a data scientist, how you can process this unstructured data. So when I say unstructured data, they are mostly like images or pictures, GIFs, then scanned photos, videos. So extracting information out of such data. Not now, no, you don't have information in tables where you are storing data in rows and columns. So these things are changing. Now everything is just, there is one blob storage, that's what we call in Azure language, and you are just storing all these information there. So you cannot store them in any row and column. You can not follow the RDBMS concept here. So all the more data scientist work increases here to understand such data and extract information out of it. Okay, so do a little bit more research on such data.
Ma'am, there's also this question asking career prospects for someone who has an MBA in data analytics to enter the field, and what kind of job roles should one look forward to, and and horizons to where he can open himself to is the question.
Okay, so usually in a corporate world, at one point you come across situation where you have to choose either the technical field or you choose the managerial field or leadership roles. So if you are keen in pursuing the subject as a subject matter expert, as a technical expert, then there are roles that you can continue pursuing it. You can become a lead scientist, you can become uh, architect level roles you can take up, and then you have advisory roles for this. You can have a center of excellence which you can lead. You can lead the research and development teams eventually. So this is one career path. The other career path is the project management path that I mentioned, where you are, you become the front facing to the customer, where you are, speaking to the business, making them understand the data science importance to the business, how it is going to help them in the business. So you need to, translate the technical information. You need to translate them and put them in business words and, take it forward to them. So you need to interact with them. You need to get get more work for your company. You need to get more business for your company. You need to generate revenues. So, and at the same time, you need to lead your team. You need to give the correct direction and path to your team so that they are able to understand. They have all the resources to deliver those projects. So this is a separate path. So there are two parallel paths. So it purely depends on your choice which path you would want to deliver. And if you are choosing the second one, that is where MBA role plays a lot of importance. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Kunal,
Ma'am, so like this is for everyone. Like we are running short of time, so we are going to just take a few questions in the next 5 to 10 minutes, if that is fine with you. Like we'll ask people to unmute and ask a few questions, and we'll take like 2 to 3 questions more, and then we'll get done with the session. And if that is fine with you, then we can proceed with this.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Just give me a moment. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, give me a moment. Actually, the charge has gone down for my phone, so I'll just put it on charge.
Okay, ma'am. By that time, everyone who wants to ask a question can raise their hands, and we'll call your names out for asking them to ma'am.
Yeah, and if we were not able to like get all the questions, we'll try to make sure if we can get the answers in kind of a text message or email, and we'll share the answers with you all who have been registered for the event. Thank you so much for the amazing response, guys. It's so great that you guys are asking the questions and everything. It's so good to see you all interact so much. One thing, if you can turn on your camera, it will be really good. Otherwise, it's completely fine. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, also before any one of you raises your hand to ask a question, please ensure that those questions aren't answered beforehand. Please ask something that hasn't been answered yet, so we get to know a lot more than what we've already, got information about.
Yes, so whoever has any more questions, like in the chat, we can see a lot of questions, and we might have missed some. So you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay, so Brijesh has raised his hand. Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Brijesh.
Yes. Good evening. Yeah, it's good. Good evening, ma'am. So, ma'am, in the you are in the industry for last 10 years, ma'am. Because there is a boom in India for the entrepreneurship. So, did you ever think of moving away from the industry and starting something of your own?
Yes, time and again, these thoughts have definitely come where I want to start something of my own, but I realized that in order to have that, I need to have that understanding because entrepreneurship is a much difficult, where just not the knowledge of the subject is not enough. You need to understand the market. You need to understand how to deal with your client and customers. So unless you don't get enough exposure in that area, and you have not done such kind of work, it will become very difficult, because entrepreneurship, just opening an organization is not enough. You need to continuously generate revenues. You need to continuously ensure that business is ongoing, and expand your business. So those are the skills which you learn as you work. You are learning that from the industry. But so yes, a little more time and a little more exposure in these areas is required before I can move to that area. Because marketing or managing business management has not been my profile, or has not been my area of expertise. So I am more into the technical prospect. So from that perspective, I can definitely contribute to an organization, but there has to be someone who can manage the other things which are more important technical thing comes at the end when you have to finally deliver. But before that, to the pre-sales activities that happen, where you are doing those cold calls, you are reaching out to customers, you are proposing your work, you are getting work from them, you need to generate, you need to deal with the agreements, you need to deal with all the legals and finances. So those things are something which you need to learn before you can finally, if you want to build a sustainable long-term organization.
Mom, just to add to this question, Mom, because I'm planning to move to something like that early in my career. So,
Mhm.
will you recommend me to move in that way? Because uh, uh, Mom, please, Mom, you can comment on that.
Yeah. See, it all depends on your instinct as well. I would say, Brijesh, because um if you have that knack, and if you think that you will be able to manage these departments as well, which is primary to any business. At the end, you are setting up a business, you want to run an organization. So these are the key aspects. So if you are aware of these things, if you have that enough knowledge, and if you definitely need a financial backup as well, right, before you move into this field. So if you are confident with it, then go ahead. There is no hard and fast rule to entrepreneurship that only if you are working for so many years, only then you can start or not. So take risks, but take calculated risks. Ensure that there is an alternative plan B available. What if, and it's a very possible scenario that it will happen, that it may not run. You cannot ignore that fact. So if you are prepared with that, you are aware how to deal with it. Maybe you have some other resources who can pretty much handle these things, and uh, you are confident with it, then go with it. Or else prepare yourself to that level, and then go to entrepreneurship. Okay.
Thank you, Mom. Thanks a lot.
And there is just one more question. I guess this will probably be our last for today. George J, please unmute yourself and please ask your question.
Hi everybody, I'm George. So
Hi.
I currently have work experience in software development. So from my
Okay.
perspective, I would like to know what are the popular project management methodologies used in the data science field. Because I have only worked in Agile Scrum model in software development and waterfall
Yeah.
models. Are similar models used in data science projects as well, or are there other concepts? I'm just adding to that question. Is the peer review process which I have always had to experience in software development, equally insignificantly practiced in data science projects, or not? Yeah.
Thank you, George, for the question. Okay, so the methodologies that you are talking of, yes, today mostly, companies are adopting the Agile and Scrum methodology. So you still have the Kanban, and you still use the Agile concepts. But of late, the organizations have also realized that it would be wiser if we use a combination. So it is waterfall as well as it is agile. So how it is, so mostly in the cases where we are moving to the stage where we are doing the business requirement, we are doing the analysis part, where we are designing, doing the data modeling, and we are involved in the you know business acumen related stuff, like when we are dealing with the data stewards, we are dealing with the data governance teams. So in these cases, it is not possible to work as in an agile mode, because there are no hard and fast tasks or rule associated with it. So you need to have that iterative process, because requirement gathering cannot happen in one go. So it needs to go through an iterative process before it finally, you need to have that hardcore requirements listed down. So in order to do that, you may not be able to do it best in an agile method. So that's where we are still going with the traditional waterfall method, or I would say more from a I would say implementation phase that we call off. And once, the requirements are more clear, more streamlined and specific, that's when agile concepts are come into picture. So that's how mostly the industries are working currently. And secondly, you asked about data science, the same applies to the data science as well. Because data science, that is where again it comes into picture. Once you have the requirements clear and what you understand the business cause, because there are specific business analysts and data architects and business architects that are involved in the pre-planning phase or in the requirement gathering phase. So once that is done, and then the implementation part of the data science, where designing and strategic implementation that comes into picture, we are using the agile concepts. And peer review concepts, that is very organization specific. If you have a timeline and the government, the organization is expecting the solution with a certain within a certain period, that's when sometimes peer reviews may not happen. So you don't have that, but you have a separate unit testing and integrated testing in place. But mostly, as best practices, all organizations are involved in peer review process, and we are using it. May not happen with every deliverable, but maybe quarterly or maybe monthly, you have these review that take place, which happen in a very streamlined and a structured way. So yes, these concepts are still relevant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, ma'am, I think we'll be ending the session here. I think we covered a lot of questions right from data science to the current advancements in the tech field. There were so many takeaways in this entire session. This session was truly very insightful. We surely got to learn a lot from you and are definitely going to put all the bits of advice you gave us to use. All of us are so very grateful for grateful to you for sharing your very precious time with us. Thank you so very much, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I hope I have been able to answer at least some of your questions, and I've been able to, put forward what I think would be really helpful in your long run as a career. But do reach out to me if you have any other questions, and I'll try my best to answer them. But I would really like to thank you all for inviting me, and it was learning for me as well to know what is happening currently in this area, because when you're working in an organization, you're so much focused on just into the work that you are doing and into the projects that you are working on, that sometimes you miss the link of what is happening around and what next is coming up. So thank you really much for this session, so that it gives me also some insights.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yes,
Ma'am,
Kunal.
also just one last thing. First of all, thank you for enlightening us with all your knowledge today. I think many people would like to at least reach out to you and maybe ask some of their questions. And as you said, if you're okay, ma'am, I'll post your LinkedIn ID or URL in the chat box, if that is fine.
Yeah, definitely. You can reach out to me, and I'll try to answer your questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you again for attending and guiding us all on various topics and telling us what can we do with our career. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Madhuvanda, would you like to add anything?
No, it was such an amazing session. I'm so grateful to ma'am for joining us today, and thank you all the participants. You are such a lovely audience. You asked all your questions. I hope it got resolved, and make sure you can connect with ma'am on LinkedIn also, so she'll be in touch. You can ask your question there also, and I'm very like hopeful that she will reply. She's a very sweet person. She will, and you'll get to connect with her also. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today. It was great
No
meeting you.
problem. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so bye bye.
Bye bye.
Balaji sir, we can stop the recording. Or Akshay sir, whoever there is. And Kunal, how was the session?
The session was amazing.
Yeah, it was,
thank
right?
Thank you all again for joining us. And we are constantly organizing such sessions in Sundarbans.
Yes.
Hopefully, you'll attend more and we'll organize more such sessions in the future.
Yes, please make sure that you follow us on LinkedIn because we are constantly posting content there. We are going to post the recording link and everything on our Instagram and on LinkedIn. Make sure you follow us so that you keep yourself updated and do participate as much as you can. We have a lot of things planned for you all, and yeah, do participate. That's all. Thank you so much for joining, and everyone. We all can leave, I guess. Bye bye. Bye bye, Abby. Bye, Kanal.
Yeah, bye bye.
Bye bye.